When the skeleton was alive, it thought that the body contained endless treasures. Currently, the known degree of development, even in the first grade, was less than 1%. If one could continuously excavate and deepen to develop 10%, 20%, 30% of the human body, the power that erupted definitely won't be inferior to that of a martial sage. The skeleton was not the first person to have such thoughts when it was alive. Someone had thought of this hundreds or thousands of years ago. Relevant research materials were also left behind. When the skeleton was alive, it had gathered the information of these predecessors and on the foundation of these predecessors, continued to dig deeper to unravel the secrets of the human body. In the end, it came up with a set of martial arts theories about excavating the potential of the physical body. He had already sorted out this set of theories. It was a complete path. In other words, if one were to carry out experiments based on this theory, he might really be able to become a martial sage with the capabilities of the physical body. Of course, he could also end up crippling and killing himself. No one knew the success rate. Su Jingxing's heart skipped a beat. Just because others couldn't, didn't mean he couldn't. As long as there was a complete theory, he could use the deduction card to deduce it. There was definitely a chance of obtaining the true method to becoming a martial sage using his physical body. TSK. Su Jingxing already had an essence soul. There was no need to walk the path of nourishing the mind with true fluid and condensing a divine embryo again. If there was really a specific method to become a martial sage using his physical body, he could have two paths available and have two essence souls. A physical body and an essence soul. If that really happened, wouldn't I have another doppelganger? This doppelganger also has the opportunity to become stronger again. The more Su Jingxing thought about it, the more excited he became. After a while, he regained his composure. He kept the book. He still had to wait to deduce the method based on the theories. This was because he didn't have enough deduction cards, only one. And Su Jingxing still had many martial arts to deduce. He had to deduce the full moon breathing technique, sword eyes, the heaven origin volume of the three origins saber art, and the newly obtained Tiangang demon suppression hand. There was no hurry using his physical body to become a martial sage. In any case, the true fluid nourished his mind. Su Jingxing had never cultivated much. Instead, it was automatically produced. Even if he really obtained the method, he didn't know how long it would take. On the contrary, he had to take care of the three semi-soul skills, the full moon breathing technique, sword eyes, and the Tiangang demon suppression hand as soon as possible. With this in mind, Su Jingxing put the 2 books and 3 circular rings into his palm space. Then, he picked up the 3 jade stones on the ground and sensed them slightly to confirm that they were pure energy stones. Due to various reasons, worldly energy had condensed into crystals. A martial artist just had to hold it and circulate his internal exercise to absorb it directly. This was also good stuff. Su Jingxing put it into his palm space too. Then, he looked around the entire house to make sure he did not miss anything and called the big white goose to go outside. Circulating his true essence, he created a hole in the ground beside the cottage. He entered the house and moved the skeleton out. He placed it in the pit and filled the pit with soil. Finally, he found a long rectangular stone and used it as a tombstone. He carved, "Grave of a Nameless Senior," on it. Before the arrival of the extraterrestrial devil insect, humans on Earth Star were particular about being buried and laid to rest. All that was left of this unknown old senior was a skeleton. He did not have to worry about the corpse-raising devil insect coming to his door, so there was no worries about being buried. Su Jingxing had obtained a few good things for no reason. Burying the person was the only thing he could do. Once everything was settled, he called for the big white goose and left the underground space. This place was a good place to live in seclusion. For example, using it to cultivate in seclusion. Apart from the big white goose, no one else knew about it, nor could they enter. On the way out, Su Jingxing made up his mind. He would take this underground space. If he needed to enter seclusion in the future, he would come here. Ah ooh. At the entrance of the cave, the giant silver-winged wolf cried out excitedly when it saw a human and a goose coming out. GGA. The big white goose emerged, flapping its wings and hopping. It's all thanks to Brother Goose. Su Jingxing said with a smile, circular rings, energy stones, soul skills, treasure clothes, and martial arts theories to become a martial sage using the physical body. They are all good stuff. GGA. The big white goose shook its body dismissively. It basically had no use for these things. Alright. Seeing this, Su Jingxing said seriously, everything else can be discussed, but I'll have to trouble Brother Goose for the circular rings. GGA. The big white goose flapped its wings and released its glow without waiting for Su Jingxing to speak. A tacit understanding. Su Jingxing gave it a thumbs up and took out the 3 circular rings. According to the previous steps, he put the 3 circular rings aside and closed his eyes to see the 9 holes of the 9 souls ring mentally. Then, he placed the 3 rings into 3 holes. In total, there were 5 of them. He had gathered 5 of the 9 rings at once. When he opened his eyes, the circular ring fused with 5 rings was emitting a faint white light. It had also become translucent and faintly discernible. With a thought, Su Jingxing controlled it with his mind. Swish! The 5 souls rings suddenly turned into a ray of white light and burrowed into Su Jingxing's glabella, reaching his sea of consciousness. Swish! The essence soul manifested and held the 5 souls ring in its hand. In that instant, Su Jingxing understood a lot. The 5 souls ring actually possessed the ability to imprison and burn souls. This 9 souls ring really did get stronger with every additional ring. Now that the 5 souls ring was already so powerful, if he could gather all 9. TSK. He took deep breaths to suppress his excitement. Su Jingxing did not take the 5 souls ring. Instead, he allowed it to float in the air above his sea of consciousness. After getting used to it, he looked down at the big white goose and said, "Thank you, Brother Goose. I'm leaving. Are you coming with me?" GGA. The big white goose shook its head and flapped its wings. It charged forward and flew back. It indicated that it was fine and could rely on itself. Ah ooh. The giant silver-winged wolf agreed at the side, expressing that it would be around as well. As long as it wasn't a martial artist in the top ranks, the wolf and the goose weren't afraid of anyone. This valley was tucked away, and almost no one came here. It was captured the last time because they were outside. Su Jingxing nodded and said, "Alright, be careful. I'll come back in a few days." GGA. Ah ooh. The big white goose and the giant silver-winged wolf called out their farewells one after another. Su Jingxing waved his hand, pushed off his toes, and soared into the sky. He left the valley and flew towards Qinghe City. His speed soared to the maximum. He bypassed the surveillance area and landed at the back mountain of his small courtyard. He returned home from there. After going indoors and getting some food, Su Jingxing took out the deduction card. Su Jingxing planned to use this function card that had 3 deductions chances and a 50% success rate each time to deduce the full moon breathing technique and sword eyes. One was a shield for defense, and the other was for offense. It was powerful in killing. Compared to the incomplete version of the Tiangang demon suppression palm, the probability of successfully deducing them was higher. As it turned out, Su Jingxing's choice was right. With 3 chances, he completed the sword eyes on the 2nd try and the full moon breathing technique on the 3rd. This allowed these 2 semi-soul skills to advance to become true soul skills in an instant. One attacked, the other defended. The only problem was that Su Jingxing didn't have a martial arts practice card and had to slowly cultivate them himself. So be it. The 5 rings of the 9 souls ring had been gathered. Su Jingxing still had to consider his next step at length. Of the remaining 4 rings, one was hidden by Shen Qian's younger brother, one was in the hands of the Li family's first elder, and 2 were in Si Wuzhou's hands. The one with Shen Qian's younger brother was the hardest to find. It was almost hopeless. Si Wuzhou's whereabouts were mysterious. Even if he did find him, he wouldn't know how to strike. He also did not know where the Li family's first elder was cultivating in seclusion. However, compared to Si Wuzhou, the chances of finding the Li family's first elder were higher. Using the heavenly secret art, he could divine the location of the Li family's first elder. As long as he had an item that belonged to the old fellow's possession, he could divine it. Of course, it would be best if he had the first elder's hair or blood. But these 2 were almost impossible to obtain. On the contrary, there were many items that the Li family's first elder used all year round with his aura lingering on them. What Su Jingxing had to do was cultivate while controlling his blood doppelganger to sneak into the Li family's residence and wait for an opportunity. He didn't know what items the Li family's first elder had left behind, but members of the Li family did. Although only a few of them, there had to be some who did. Su Jingxing was waiting for them. Then, he would find an opportunity to get information out of them. And things developed unexpectedly smoothly for Su Jingxing. On the 3rd night after the blood doppelganger infiltrated the Li family's residence, he encountered an opportunity. The 9th elder of the Li family, an old fellow in his 70s or 80s, came back with a 13 or 14-year-old girl. He threw her into the room and wanted to force himself on her. Sensing the girl's terrified screams, the blood doppelganger immediately sneaked into the room. Its blood energy erupted and it ambushed the old fellow from behind. With a single palm strike, the old fellow vomited blood and fainted. Then, he brought the girl who had fainted from fright and the old fellow out of the Li family's residence and disappeared from under the moonlight as quickly as possible. By the time the Li family reacted, they had already fled. Su Jingxing controlled the blood doppelganger to drop the young girl who had passed out from shock at the entrance of the Martial Suppression Office's headquarters. The Li family's 9th elder was brought to the southern suburbs and into a forest. Su Jingxing's main body was waiting at the top of the mountain. The blood doppelganger brought the old fellow over. Without another word, the essence soul emerged from his body and released the 5 souls ring to trap the old fellow's soul. Ah! The voice of the 9th elder, whose physical body was unconscious and soul was screaming, only echoed in the sea of consciousness. Su Jingxing's essence soul controlled the 5 souls ring to appear in the Li family's 9th elder's sea of consciousness. He interrogated expressionlessly, "Where is your big brother, the first elder of the Li family cultivating in seclusion?" I don't know." The 9th elder screamed in fear. "Senior, I really don't know. Please let me off. I was wrong. I shouldn't have or pet a young girl. I'm not human. I'm a beast. I'm willing to accept punishment. Even if you castrate me, I'm willing to accept it, as long as you let me off. I was wrong, I was really wrong." The soul-like 9th elder of the Li family shouted in fear. It was strange because there were no tears or snot. "Cut the crap." Su Jingxing asked coldly, "Where is the Li family's first elder?" "I really don't know." Ah! The 5 souls ring was activated, the flames burned fiercely, distorting the soul of the Li family's 9th elder. This stimulation and pain from the soul was tens or hundreds of times stronger than that from the physical body. If it had been used on his body, he would have passed out countless times from the pain. But directly targeting the soul, the 9th elder would only feel pain, but would not die or faint. This method of interrogation could also be used by 2nd-grade and 1st-grade martial artists to invade the sea of consciousness through the martial art true intent. But it wasn't as convenient as Su Jingxing's essence soul. This was because Su Jingxing did not need to expend any soul power. When the essence soul was released and manifested, it was like an ordinary person coming out of a house. The power of Five Souls Ring was not something that ordinary martial art true intent could compare to. Ah! Ah! Miserable cries, shrill cries of pain and despair came from the soul of the Li family's ninth elder. They resounded through his sea of consciousness. Just listening to them sounded agonizing. In the soul state, unless the soul was burned to ashes with nothing left, he could continue to be interrogated. Of course, over time, his soul would also be damaged and he would become an idiot. Su Jingxing had grasped a certain limit in this interrogation. Every time the ninth elder was about to collapse, he would stop. After a while, he would continue to interrogate again. The power of the Five Souls Ring was fully unleashed at this moment. Finally, after howling in pain for a long time, the Li family's ninth elder could no longer hold back and revealed the secret. Don't continue. I'll speak. The ninth elder of the Li family, who was in a soul state, shouted in grief and indignation as he trembled, I only know that the first elder left a message. He said that he's what? Su Jingxing continued. In the Thunder Cloud Tower. The Li family's ninth elder said with a trembling voice, the first elder once let slip that he's in the Thunder Cloud Tower, but I don't know if it's true or not. Really, I didn't lie to you this time. I only know this. I really don't know anything else. Stop burning me. Why don't you just kill me? The Li family's ninth elder shouted with a sobbing tone. In his physical state, he could kill himself with a self-destruction secret ability. However, in his soul state, he couldn't even commit suicide, let alone escape. Thundercloud Tower. Su Jingxing pondered for a moment. Are you referring to the ancient stone pagoda on Nanfu Mountain in the south? Yes, that's it. The Li family's ninth elder hurriedly replied, one of our secret bases is set up there. Of course, I don't know the exact location of the base because I'm not in charge of it. Fourth brother is. Our Li family has a total of 4 secret bases. I only know the location of one of them. I don't know about the other 3. By the way, we are also related to the Yu family in the capital. We have been partners with the Yu family for many years. Of course, even though we are partners, we are actually a vassal. It's just that the Yu family is generous and never asks for anything from us. Instead, they provide resources and information from time to help the Li family develop. Also, the Jade Sword sect in Qinghe City was actually founded by a member of the Yu family. It is by a secret subordinate faction of the Yu family in Changyang Prefecture. Also, Li Linzhou is actually also a member of the Yu family. His mother is a descendant of a collateral branch of the Yu family, but she has left the Yu family. But to be very calculative, Li Linzhou is also a member of the Yu family. Of course, Li Linzhou's true backer is his master, the head supervisor of the Martial Suppression Office. He was so afraid that Su Jingxing would start another barbecue. The Li family's ninth elder's mouth kept opening and closing, spilling one secret after another. Some, Su Jingxing knew. For some others, it was his first time he was hearing about them. For example, the Jade Sword sect was the Yu family's stronghold, and the Li family was a vassal force of the Yu family. The Yu family in the capital was an ancient martial arts family on the same level as the Chen and Xia families. Among the 5 major martial arts families in the Yu nation, other than the Xia family, the other 4 all had a history that exceeded 1,000 years. The Xia family was the imperial family to begin with. Hundreds of years of accumulation made it that even in their decline and loss of power, their foundation was still terrifying. Needless to say, the famous Golden family, the Golden bloodline, had unparalleled combat strength. The Yu family. To be honest, Su Jingxing wasn't sure. Compared to the Xia and Chen families, the Yu family was much more low profile. For 1,000 years, they had been quietly developing and strengthening themselves. As long as one did not provoke them, the Yu family rarely made a move. The Qinghali family was able to build a relationship with the Yu family. No wonder they remained standing for hundreds of years. They managed to safely ride through the few major troubles encountered in the middle. At that time, no one knew the reason. Now, he knew that the Yu family was behind helping them. Su Jingxing had captured the Li family's ninth elder because he wanted to get one or two items that the first elder had used from him. Unexpectedly, he had obtained a lot of secrets. Su Jingxing was a little embarrassed to kill him now. Forget it, I'll just cripple him. Cripple his tool and break his hand so that the old fellow can only see and not touch anyone in the future. With this in mind, Su Jingxing put away the 5 souls ring and the essence soul left the ninth elder's sea of consciousness. Who? The Li family's ninth elder opened his eyes and panted heavily. He scanned his surroundings and realized that Su Jingxing was still around. He immediately screamed, "You're not human, you're not human, you're not human." Accompanied by the dragging sound of the word human, he self-destructed with a dull thud, turning into a rain of flesh and blood that scattered in the air. He had already planned to let him off, but the old fellow actually self-destructed. Was he scared out of his wits? Afraid that Su Jingxing would imprison and incinerate his soul again? Therefore, he simply chose to self-destruct. He would rather die than suffer the feeling of his soul being burned again. Fine. Su Jingxing nodded and released his true essence. It transformed into true energy and burned his blood and flesh. At the same time, he extracted a card. After that, he rose into the air and flew south. The Li family's first elder's seclusion location might be in the Thundercloud Tower of Nanfu Mountain. Now that he knew the general location, either by using divination or directly scanning the area like a radar using the essence soul, he'd be able to find him. Of course, the prerequisite was that the Li family's first elder was really in Nanfu Mountain. Nanfu Mountain was located about 30 miles south of Qinghe City. Su Jingxing flew over. Instead of landing on the mountain directly, he landed in advance and approached silently along the forest. Since the Li family had established a secret base in Nanfu Mountain, they must have surveillance around. Su Jingxing didn't want to alert the enemy, nor did he want to bust the Li family's secret base. His goal was only to obtain the circular ring. Therefore, it was best if no one died. He would go up the mountain, find the secret base, sneak into it, get the circular ring, and retreat. The plan was this simple. Su Jingxing followed the steps perfectly. After arriving at Nanfu Mountain silently, he avoided the cameras in the open and in the dark. He found a remote corner and operated the 6 comets records to divine the location of the base. However, halfway through his divination, he heard a strange sound coming from afar. Crack! Accompanied by a sound, a figure flashed from the mountainside and soared into the sky. That is... Su Jingxing's eyes flickered with surprise. No way, what a coincidence. The Li family's first elder. Su Jingxing had searched for photos of this first elder online and knew what he looked like. He was looking for him and he had actually appeared on his own. The self-destructed ninth elder was right. This first elder was really cultivating in seclusion in Nanfu Mountain. The source of the sound was the entrance to the secret base. The location of the base was automatically exposed. However, Su Jingxing didn't want to go to the base anymore. Instead, he wanted to follow the Li family's first elder. Isn't this first elder in seclusion all year round? Why did he suddenly leave? Out for something? Or... With a thought, Su Jingxing decisively stopped circulating the 6 comets records and silently chased after the Li family's first elder. He followed the aura left behind by the first elder and quickly shuttled through the forest. He released his powerful perception and locked onto him. Then, Su Jingxing realized that the first elder had gone up the mountain. No, to be precise, he was rushing to the Thunder Cloud Tower. The Thunder Cloud Tower was an ancient stone tower that had existed for more than 3,000 years. It had long been dilapidated and no longer had the grandness from 3,000 years ago. More than 3,000 years ago, the Thunder Cloud Tower was 1,000 feet tall and was an important stronghold for a large faction. Now, it was less than 100 feet tall and was full of holes. Jingxing chased after the first elder and arrived outside the Thunder Cloud Tower. He restrained his aura and retracted his perception to a certain range. He circulated his secret ability and listened to the movements. There was already someone waiting under the Thunder Cloud Tower. The Li family's first elder had come out to see him. "Long time no see, brother C. I've missed you," greeted the first elder with a smile. "That's right. It's been more than 10 years since we last met, brother Li. You finally succeeded." The person waiting sighed. It was all luck. Luck played a big role in me breaking through to the 3rd grade. The remaining half was thanks to Elder Yu. Without his guidance and the treasure map he provided for me to study at will, I would never have been able to advance to the 3rd grade in my life. The Li family's first elder with a big smile. "That's also because of your capabilities. When the opportunity comes, you will naturally succeed." The person waiting also chuckled. "Sigh, compared to you, I'm still not good enough. I only advanced more than 10 years later." The first elder sighed. "By the way, President, why are you looking for me today? Aren't you usually too busy to see me?" "Naturally, because I have something important to discuss with you." The person who was waiting said in a low voice, "Did you bring the circular ring I asked for?" "Yes, why?" The first elder was puzzled. Jingxing, who was listening, was excited, agitated, and pleasantly surprised. Surname C, President, circular ring. With these 3 elements combined, the identity of the person waiting was obvious. Si Wujiu. The president of the Tianlong Chamber of Commerce who had 2 circular rings in his possession. Some time ago, he had deliberately attacked the Li family and put on a show. Today, he was meeting the Li family's first elder to discuss the circular ring. Jingxing happened to not be able to find him, but Si Wujiu appeared on his own. How could this not be a pleasant surprise? What was even more surprising was that Si Wujiu and the Li family's first elder had both brought the circular rings with them. Just what are they trying to do? Of course, no matter what they wanted to do, it would end here. "Brotherly, I've figured out what the circular rings in our possession are." Si Wujiu, who was holding 2 circular rings, said in a low voice, "Our cooperation previously forced the others with the circular rings to appear. I don't know if they were fooled, but 2 days ago, I finally learned what these circular rings are." "What exactly are they?" asked the first elder. 9 Souls Ring. Si Wujiu replied excitedly, "Such rings are called the 9 Souls Ring. It's a powerful soul-related treasure. As long as you gather 9 rings and combine them into one, you will possess terrifying strength that you can even defeat a martial sages." TSS. The Li family's first elder drew a cold breath and said in shock, "Are you sure? Is what you said true? There can't be a mistake, right?" "No, I've confirmed it carefully. Its real name is the 9 Souls Ring." Si Wujiu said happily, "The power unleashed by the fusion of the 9 rings is incomparably powerful. Brotherly, we have to find the remaining 6 rings. The problem is, we don't know where they are." The Li family's first elder was helpless. "The one in my hand was even bestowed to my ancestor by Emperor Yu back then. It has been passed down until today. If we can find the 9 circular rings, I believe Emperor Yu wouldn't have bestowed this one back then. If even Emperor Yu didn't know where the other circular rings are distributed, where are we going to find them?" "They're with me." A voice suddenly sounded. The Li family's first elder subconsciously asked, "Where?" Si Wujiu's expression changed. His gaze was like a fire torch as he quickly locked onto Jingxing, who was walking into the ruins step by step. "Who are you?" Si Wujiu's gaze was cold. "Brotherly, is he a member of the Li family?" "No. The first elder shook his head. His expression was equally solemn as he said in a low voice, "Friend, was what you said true? You have circular rings in your possession?" "Of course." Su Jingxing approached them step by step. "Not only do I have the circular rings, I also have a good number of them. A total of 5. "Really?" The first elder's eyes widened. Si Wujio's breathing faltered, and surprise and greed flashed across his eyes. "What are your conditions?" He took a deep breath and glanced behind Su Jingxing to confirm if Su Jingxing was alone or whether there was someone else hiding behind him. "Conditions?" Su Jingxing finally stopped and asked calmly, "What conditions?" "In exchange for the circular rings." Si Wujio said in a low voice, "Since you have 5 circular rings, I'm willing to make a deal with you. Feel free to state what you want." "Yes." When the first elder heard this, he regained his composure and echoed, "Friend, state your price. What must we do for you to hand over the circular rings?" "I'm sorry, I never planned to sell the circular rings." Su Jingxing, who had changed his appearance and disposition, said calmly, "As you've said, the 9 Souls ring is a rare treasure. Why would I sell it? On the contrary, you can sell the circular rings in your hands to me. In terms of numbers, I have 5, I've got the majority. The 3 that you two have are too few. You only appeared because of the 9 Souls ring, right?" The first elder's eyes flickered. In a flash, he figured out the reason. He turned his head to look at Si Wujio and cursed, "Si Wujio, you were actually followed. You didn't even know." Si Wujio's face was ashen as he stared at Su Jingxing. No, first elder is wrong." Su Jingxing shook his head and smiled. "I didn't follow President Si here. I followed you here." The first elder was also speechless. The former was stunned and surprised, while the latter was shocked, angered and ashamed. After a while, he went berserk. "What did you say?" "I followed you here." Su Jingxing shrugged. "If not for the first elder leading the way, why would I appear here?" The first elder spewed fire and panted non-stop, his chest heaving. Enough." Si Wujio gritted his teeth and growled, "How dare you eavesdrop on our conversation? You even dared to expose that you have 5 circular rings in front of us. And then?" Su Jingxing chuckled. For some reason, Si Wujio's heart skipped a beat. He subconsciously lowered his voice. "What then? Don't talk about anything else. I'll only give you one chance. Hand over the circular rings." "Wait." The first elder stopped him. "Who are you?" "I'm the person looking for you both." Su Jingxing sighed and stopped teasing the two of them. The essence soul manifested and released a terrifying pressure. Buzz. Vast and boundless, it was like a towering mountain had descended from the sky and enveloped the first elder and Si Wujio. The two of them were almost defenseless. Plop, plop. They dropped to their knees and then prostrated themselves on the ground. Their bodies were trembling and their eyes were filled with disbelief. "Ah!" Si Wujio growled and tried to release his martial art true intent, but he couldn't. Similarly, the first elder hurriedly circulated all his soul power and circulated his martial art true intent that he had just condensed. In the end, he failed as well. Together with Si Wujio, they laid flat on the ground like salted fish, unable to move. What kind of power is this?" Si Wujio struggled and shouted indignantly. He was a 3rd-grade martial artist, a veteran 3rd-grade expert. Once his martial art true intent manifested, he could resist and suppress those in the middle ranks. However, in the face of this invisible and terrifying pressure, he could not resist at all. This was because this power targeted the soul and also suppressed the soul. His physical body, true essence, and martial art true intent were rendered useless. The problem was that even a 1st-grade martial artist could not do this. How did Su Jingxing do it? Martial Martial sage. The first elder's face was pale. He thought of something and exclaimed in a trembling voice, "You're a martial sage." "What?" Si Wujio was stunned. "Martial sage. He's a martial sage. The kingdom-defending martial sage of the U-Nation. The two of us had been targeted by the kingdom-defending martial sage. Is this luck or luck?" For a moment, Si Wujio was dumbfounded. The first elder was also a little confused and dizzy. Suppressing his shock, he trembled and asked, You're really the kingdom-defending martial sage?" "No." Su Jingxing shook his head and flipped the two of them from a distance. Then, he executed the black wind claw and grabbed the circular rings hidden in their chests. Swish! 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 The three circular rings immediately fell into Su Jingxing's hands. "No. How is that possible? This is impossible." The first elder growled, "This strength is definitely the might of a martial sage. Only the might of a martial sage can be so terrifying." He was aggrieved. He had just broken through to the 3rd grade and had only gotten adapted for a period of time. Before he could carry out his first actual combat, he had already encountered the kingdom-defending martial sage who was rare to encounter in decades. Su Jingxing denied it, unwilling to accept the title. But the Li family's first elder believed that Su Jingxing was a martial sage. The martial sage took a fancy to their circular rings. No one else could be so unlucky. The Li family's first elder smiled bitterly, sighed, and felt helpless. In the end, he chose to be calm. He had no choice but to accept it. The might of a martial sage. The legendary might of a martial sage was indeed terrifying. Martial art true intent could not withstand a single blow from a martial sage. No, it could not even hold for a second. The first elder admitted defeat. On the other hand, Si Wujio was terrified. Martial sage. This was the martial sage of the U-Nation. To think that he had other thoughts previously. Now, he was almost scared out of his wits and didn't dare to have any more ideas. Coveting something that belongs to a martial sage. That was not the way to court death even if one wanted to die. Pooh! Si Wujio groaned as a wave of pain washed over him. He gritted his teeth and endured it, not daring to make a sound. One of his arms suddenly left his body and flew into the air. "There won't be a next time," said Su Jingxing coolly. He put away the 3 circular rings and turned to leave. As soon as the essence soul entered his body, the terrifying pressure disappeared. Si Wujio and the Li family's first elder did not get up immediately. Instead, they continued to lie on the ground, not daring to move an inch. After more than 10 minutes, they carefully raised their heads and looked around. After making sure that Su Jingxing had really left, the two of them laid down on their backs and looked at the sky, panting heavily. Si Wujio, who had escaped death, saw his lost arm not far away, but he had no intention of picking it up. He only lost an arm, which was considered lucky. Even if he was really killed this time, he deserved it. But then again, who would have known that the martial sage of the U-Nation was also collecting the 9 souls ring? He already has 5, together with our 3, that makes 8. If he finds the last one, he'll have 9. All 9 rings of the 9 souls ring gathered. The first elder calmed himself down and sighed. "I believe that the martial sage can definitely gather all 9. Si Wujio flattered, afraid that Su Jingxing was still around and monitoring their every move. It was rumored that martial sages had the magical ability to monitor the world. Even from 1,000 miles away, they could still see and hear. But in reality, Si Wujio was thinking too much. Su Jingxing wasn't that free to continue staring at him. Breaking one of his arms to teach him a lesson was enough. After obtaining 3 more circular rings, Su Jingxing was overjoyed and rushed to the Green Cloud mountain range without stopping to look for the big white goose and ask for its help. Under the sparkling glow, Su Jingxing skillfully embedded the 3 rings he had obtained into the 3 holes and completed the fusion of 8 rings. When he opened his eyes, he, who now possessed 8 soul rings, learned 3 more abilities. Firstly, the soul ring could be released for 1,000 miles to kill enemies invisibly. Secondly, the flames ignited by the soul ring could injure the essence soul. Thirdly, with a soul ring, one could block out heavenly secret arts. Indeed, with every additional ring, his strength would increase. Especially blocking out the heavenly secret arts, it had resolved Su Jingxing's future troubles. Although there weren't many people who cultivated heavenly secret arts, every one of them was very powerful. When Su Jingxing divined others, others could also divine him. Locking on and determining his location and whatnot were fine. But if things relating to karma and giving insights to his roots were to be divined, it would be extremely troublesome. Now that he had the 8 rings, Su Jingxing no longer had to worry about others divining any information about him. The 8 souls ring could block the prying of heavenly secret arts. Of course, such resistance was not absolute. It could only be said that most spying could be blocked. After all, the 8 souls ring was not the only extraordinary treasure with such function. With rare treasures that could block out heavenly secret arts, there were naturally also treasures that could speed up, deepen, and facilitate divination. With the 8 souls ring in hand, he was only 1 ring away from the complete 9 souls ring. However, there was no trace of this last circular ring. No one knew where Shen Qian's younger brother had hid it. Su Jingxing had been to Shen Qian's old house, but he didn't find anything. His mastery of the 6 comets records was only at the introductory stage. It was impossible to find this last ring without a medium. Only when the 6 comets record was cultivated to the depths could the divination be completed without the assistance of a medium. Therefore, Su Jingxing temporarily let go of this last ring. In the cultivation of heavenly secret arts, the consumption of soul power was secondary. The requirement for talent was very high. Without martial arts practice cards, cultivating the sword eyes and full moon breathing technique was more cost-effective. And because the ability to extract cards was bound to the soul, Su Jingxing, who had no use for the blood doppelganger for the time being, moved this doppelganger to hide near the crematorium in the southern suburbs of Changyang Prefecture City. In the Changyang Prefecture City, there were a total of 3 crematoriums. The one in the southern suburbs was the biggest. The blood doppelganger shrunk up into a ball and hid outside the crematorium, extracting function cards day and night. Su Jingxing's main body in Qinghe City only needed to unlock the cards. It was unknown if he was extremely lucky because this was his first time going to the prefecture city or because there were more people being controlled there. But on the second day of the blood doppelganger's stay at the crematorium in the southern suburbs, it had extracted 3 martial arts practice cards. With 9 years, 5 years, and 6 years of practice time respectively. Altogether, 20 years of practice time was perfect for cultivating the sword eyes and the 6 comets records. Sword eyes was raised to the advanced level, and the 6 comets record had also been advanced to the point where he divine without a medium. As for the other cards, internal force cards, essence energy cards, life skill cards, strength enhancement cards, equipment cards, there were a lot of them. He even extracted 2 requiem cards and kept them as backup. The 6 comets records could now divine without a medium. Su Jingxing immediately operated it to deduce the whereabouts of the last ring. In the end, he found it on a young woman in Qinghe City who was less than 20 years old. Su Jingxing didn't know where she got it from, but he didn't ask. He just knocked her out, took the circular ring, and left a sum of money. From then on, all 9 rings were gathered. After obtaining the last ring, Su Jingxing decisively rushed to the Green Cloud Mountain Range. With the help of the big white goose, he filled in the last hole. Buzz! With the 9 rings combined, the true 9 souls ring was born. This extraordinary treasure with no shape, no shadow and no movements disappeared the moment it fused. If Su Jingxing hadn't used his soul power to fuse the rings, he wouldn't have discovered it at all. Even so, Su Jingxing only realized that the Nine Souls ring was still with him after carefully sensing it for a while through the essence soul. The complete Nine Souls ring was its own entity, and it carried a terrifying power that scorched the soul. Su Jingxing's essence soul didn't even dare to approach. He needed to refine it. The 5 Souls ring and 8 Souls ring could be controlled directly. Yet the complete 9 Soul ring actually required refinement to control. On second thought, it made sense. The complete 9 Souls ring was a mature treasure that had its own sentience. If Su Jingxing wanted to control it, he would have to refine it first. Once successfully refined, he could leave his own imprint on it. Even if the 9 Souls ring was lost or snatched away, there was no need to worry. Therefore, for the next few days, Su Jingxing's main body did not go anywhere. Instead, he stayed in the valley and slowly contacted the 9 Souls ring with his soul power. He influenced it, enveloped it up, and refined it. Su Jingxing didn't know how long this process would take, so he could only take it one step at a time. The blood doppelganger remained at the crematorium in the southern suburbs of the prefecture city, extracting cards day and night. It stayed for more than half a month. On this day, the blood doppelganger was on the periphery of the crematorium and overheard a conversation between 3 people. Have you heard? There are really strong winds in the Lori prefecture right now. Isn't it normal for there to be wind? Would I specially tell you about normal winds? The winds in the Lori prefecture are very strange. Strange? It's just wind. How is it strange? I'm not sure about the details. In any case, I only know that the Lori prefecture has encountered a rare windstorm. The winds have no fixed direction and have no eye, but the wind speeds are getting faster and faster. According to the weather station's repeated surveillance, even though there are clearly no conditions for winds, a wind mass that covers the entire prefecture suddenly appeared. Are you serious? The Lori prefecture is close to the periphery of the boundless mountain range. Did the winds come from the mountain range? Is this the first time you've heard of the boundless mountain range? If there really is a source of the storm in the boundless mountain range, with irregular changes in the flow of air, it would have been discovered long ago. Why would they wait until now? Then what do you think happened? I don't know. I was just wondering. I heard that it's difficult for ordinary people to even walk in the Lori prefecture now. They've all hidden at home. Most of the simple buildings have been blown down. TSK, this is probably a force 9 strong gale. If the wind speed were to increase further, it would become a force 10 storm. That's right. Right now, the Lori prefecture is in the midst of an emergency dispatch. The other neighboring prefectures are in charge of transporting supplies. I hope the wind stops soon. It shouldn't be able to turn into a strong gale. The Lori prefecture isn't near the sea, nor is there a big lake. Their scenery was always the best. If there is really a disaster, it should come from the barbarians in the boundless mountain range. By the way, it couldn't be the barbarians' work, could it? Well, I'm really not sure. F***ck, why don't you know anything? And still complaining? Aren't I just finding a topic to talk about? Get lost. The conversation did not last long before it ended and the 3 people left. Although the blood doppelganger was a little surprised, it did not take the matter to heart. Despite such strong winds being rare, the administration of the Lori prefecture and the cabinet of the U-Nation were much more experienced than Su Jingxing in handling such matters. In the face of all kinds of natural disasters, they had long had corresponding strategies. Su Jingxing controlled his blood doppelganger to continue extracting cards. His main body continued to refine the 9 Souls ring. Right now, the most important thing for Su Jingxing was to refine this rare treasure and gain complete control over it. Soon, another 3 days passed. That evening, when the blood doppelganger was extracting cards, it heard a few people talking again. Is it a bad year this year? Some time ago, there was a self-combustion disaster here. Now, there's a wind disaster in the southwest. I heard that there's already a windstorm there. Some unstable buildings have been easily destroyed. A few days ago, martial artists could still walk outside, but now, even the lower-level martial artists don't dare to go out anymore. Most importantly, the number of deaths caused by the storm is constantly rising. If the corpses aren't incinerated in time, they will turn into corpse puppets. That's right. That's the most important. I heard that after the storm spread to the Qiannan prefecture, it destroyed a house and crushed someone to death. However, they didn't get rid of the corpse in time, resulting in the birth of a corpse puppet. Then, the corpse puppet charged into the neighboring house and killed many people. In the end, it was because the martial suppression office arrived in time that the corpse puppet was killed. I heard about that too. Right now, the Luori prefecture, the Qiannan prefecture, the Daqin prefecture, and the Xifang prefecture have all been attacked by the storm. The experts from the martial suppression office who head out all carry large buckets of corpse-dissolving liquid. Once corpses are discovered, they will be dissolved and not sent to the crematorium. In such a situation, that's the best option. Sending them to the crematorium is completely unnecessary and will cause other future troubles. 4 prefectures. The storm has already enveloped 4 prefectures. If it doesn't stop, that will become 5 prefectures or 6 prefectures. The increase in area is secondary. An increase in wind speed is the main problem. If the winds accelerate further and turn into a hurricane, more people will die. There won't even be enough corpse-dissolving liquid. Not only that, if it really turns into a hurricane, all martial artists below the 5th grade will have to stay in their rooms. To resolve the problems of the corpses, we'll have to send out 4th grade or even 3rd grade martial artists. There was a moment of silence. The few people talking fell silent. The blood doppelganger, who was listening to the conversation, was also speechless. 3 days ago, Su Jingxing didn't take this matter to heart. But now, hearing the news again, news that provided more updates, his heart suddenly skipped a beat. There's something wrong with these winds. The storm covered the entire Luori prefecture, Qiannan prefecture, Dane prefecture, and Xifang prefecture, and it was still extending outwards. There was definitely something wrong with this wind mass. Almost immediately, Su Jingxing thought of the possible source. The Void World. The monsters from the Void World had caused a disaster in the U-Nation through the border membrane again. Compared to the strange self-combustion last time, this time, it was a storm, a hurricane, a wind disaster. What is the martial sage of the U-Nation doing? Su Jingxing cursed inwardly. He was 90% sure that the source of the windstorm in the 4 prefectures came from the Void World. The problem was that the U-Nation's territory in the Void World was guarded by a martial sage. The last time, Su Jingxing had specially used his essence soul to enter the Void World and found the martial sage of the U-Nation standing in the northeast. If a Void World monster has broken into the U-Nation's territory, passed through the border membrane, and invaded the southwest, why didn't the martial sage take action? Is he busy again and not in the Void World? So, he's unaware about the hurricane that struck the 4 prefectures. Su Jingxing pondered in silence. He was only 1 step away from completely refining the 9 Souls ring. As long as he could finish this last step, he would be able to gain absolute control over the 9 Souls ring. For this, Su Jingxing was anxious, but he had to endure it for the time being. Another 2 days passed. Fortunately, he had finally refined the 9 Souls ring and controlled this powerful treasure. As soon as the refinement succeeded, Su Jingxing's essence soul held the 9 Souls ring and left his body. It came to the outside world and flew into the sky. The essence soul activated its perception of the border membrane. After seeing it, it quickly passed through it and stepped into the Void World. Instead of looking for the Unation's martial sage, the Essence Soul headed southwest, vigilantly searching for the void world monster that caused the windstorm. In the end, instead of finding a void world monster, it found a hole in the border membrane. It was about the size of the hole that the ostrich creature had made last time. Su Jingxing's heart skipped a beat when he saw this hole. If the source of the windstorm isn't in the void world, doesn't that mean that the monster's main body had entered the real world below? The storms in the 4 prefectures in the southwest are becoming increasingly strong and spreading, getting wider and wider. Is the reason behind this because the monsters from the void world were personally involved? At this thought, Su Jingxing decisively returned to the real world through the hole and descended to the southwest. If he were to take a plane or fly in a straight line, it would take at least a day or 2 to get from Qinghe City to Lori Prefecture. However, he could reach it in a few minutes through the void world. The moment Su Jingxing's essence soul descended, he felt a super-strong hurricane comparable to a force 16-1 howling in the world. Hundreds of meters to the left, there was a thick tornado that connected the sky and the ground. It wrapped around all kinds of debris and moved forward. Everywhere it passed, trees, stones, and buildings were destroyed, allowing the tornado to carry them along. It continued to strengthen and destroy other things. Boom! Boom! Explosive thunder that split space resounded through the air. Lightning and thunder. There were actually streaks of lightning and thunder in the tornado that kept flickering. Thunderstorm. Su Jingxing, who was in the essence soul state, had a thought as he watched this scene. He circulated the 6 comets record and divined the location of the void world monster to see if it was inside the tornado. The results. Not here. This void world monster that had entered the Unation was not inside the tornado that was sweeping in front of Su Jingxing. Instead, it was thousands of meters to the right. He had to move closer to confirm the exact location. Using the heavenly secret art, the other party's position was not fixed and was constantly moving. This undoubtedly increased the difficulty of catching it. In other words, it would take a certain amount of time. Since he couldn't take care of it quickly, then this lightning storm might be of use to Su Jingxing. Charging. That's right, charge Thunderbolt. With this in mind, Su Jingxing decisively turned around in his essence soul state and returned to the void world. He took the paths in the void world and returned to the Green Cloud Mountain range. His soul power wrapped around his main body before he stepped into the void world again. What was worth mentioning was that after Su Jingxing's main body entered the void world, his breathing stopped. It was as if his entire body was wrapped in an invisible energy. He couldn't move or breathe. This mass of energy was getting tighter and tighter, constantly squeezing inward. Su Jingxing felt the pressure. His internal organs were the first to suffer the impact, followed by his brain. Immediately, he activated his transcendent body to withstand the pressure. However, Su Jingxing realized that even with his transcendent body activated, he wouldn't be able to last long with its defensive power. It would become ineffective in 2 minutes at most. His body made of flesh and blood could not withstand this unknown and mysterious pressure at all. Fortunately, the essence soul moved fast enough. It brought the main body into the void world and left after about a minute and a half. In a minute and a half, Su Jingxing's main body arrived at Lori Prefecture from the Green Cloud Mountain range. The tornado that connected the sky and the earth continued. In the sky and ground, endless winds were still howling. Su Jingxing, who had regained his freedom, maintained his transcendent body. His martial art true intent was semi-materialized, and he flew through the air towards the tornado. Before he got close, he took out Thunderbolt. After enlarging it, it charged towards the tornado at lightning speed and entered it to absorb the lightning and thunder. Crack! 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 Boom! 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 Bolts of lightning danced like dragons, circling around Thunderbolt and were absorbed by it. Su Jingxing's main body circled around the tornado. In order to avoid being recognized, he changed his appearance, his hair became slightly longer. He took out the long robe he had gotten from the nameless senior and put it on. As soon as he put on the robe, Su Jingxing's aura was immediately revealed. He was like an immortal dashing freely through a tornado. I can go anywhere in the world. On the other side, the Essence Soul held the 9 Souls ring and rushed to the right. The Void World monster that created the hurricane had been moving the whole time. As the Essence Soul rushed over, the 6 Comets record circulated non-stop, divining its location. In such a state, the efficiency naturally wouldn't be high. But at least it provided a rough location and gave Su Jingxing a vague clue. Following this clue, the Essence Soul traversed the void and arrived outside a city. Who? Roar. A dense gust of wind snarled like a giant beast. The massive winds formed a spiral vortex with a diameter of more than 1,000 meters outside the city. The vortex carried dust, sand, stones, and trees that filled the sky as it charged towards the city in a mighty manner. However, in the sky above the outskirts of the city, more than 10 figures of different heights protected themselves with true essence and martial art true intent manifested. They either struck out with their palms, fists, swords, or sabers, releasing powerful forces to forcefully block the impact of the hurricane. To be able to resist the hurricane landing in the city with human strength, these people were undoubtedly top-ranked experts. There were nearly 3 first-grade martial artists. The distance was too far and the hurricane was too strong. Su Jingxing's Essence Soul could not make a specific judgment, nor did it need to. These people's goal was to disperse the hurricane and stop it from entering the city. Because once it did, there would definitely be countless casualties among the residents. No matter how destructive a pure hurricane was, it could not destroy a building made of reinforced concrete in a short period of time. However, the trees, boulders, weapons, and other objects in the hurricane could. The rocks, the cars, they were like shells wrapped in a hurricane. With a few hits, they could knock down houses and walls. The destructive power was so strong that it was despairing. Once it entered the city, this large city would definitely be reduced to ruins. For this, they risked their lives to stop it. Unfortunately, while the strength of the winds were boundless, their true essence was limited. Su Jingxing didn't know how long they had been resisting. In any case, after his arrival, half of the dozen or so people could no longer hold on and were blown backward by the strong wind. There was a high chance that they wouldn't die, but they wouldn't be able to continue intercepting the hurricane. The remaining attack power was also decreasing. If Su Jingxing hadn't come, they would have lasted for at most 10 minutes before being taken away by the hurricane. Whoosh! In his Essence Soul state, Su Jingxing entered from the back of the hurricane. As soon as he entered, the 9 Souls ring was thrown in a certain direction. Swish! 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 As it flew, the 9 rings disintegrated and turned into 9 different soul rings that surrounded a strange fish that resembled a puffer fish. After refinement, the complete 9 souls ring could once again become 9. Each of them had the ability to track, lock, and burn. The puffer fish monster that was hiding inside the hurricane with its mouth puffed up could not be seen, felt, or sensed by others. In his Essence Soul state, Su Jingxing followed the guidance of the heavenly secret arts and discovered it immediately. The 9 souls ring spread out and enveloped the puffer fish, cutting off all its escape routes. A strange cry that pierced straight into the soul instantly sounded in the hurricane and attacked Su Jingxing's Essence Soul. Gather! Through the Essence Soul, Su Jingxing controlled his 9 rings to fuse together and squeeze the puffer fish inside. Then, he circulated his soul power, and the eyes of the Essence Soul's body lit up. Swish! Swish! 2 beams of light shot out from its eyes like 2 sharp swords, stabbing towards the puffer fish. The moment they approached the 9 rings, 2 of the rings separated and allowed the sword-shaped light beam to enter and hit the puffer fish monster. In an instant, the sharp cry became even more ear-piercing and resounded through the hurricane. Boom! Boom! The 9-soul ring suddenly burst into flames. The puffer fish that was curled up inside could not hide. Its wounds were instantly ignited, and its screams became louder. But soon, its voice lowered until it stopped. The puffer fish's entire body turned into nothingness in the raging flames. Done. After the source of the windstorm was eliminated, Jingxing's essence soul immediately sensed that the snarling hurricane mass was getting weaker. Without the puffer fish creating a hurricane, it would quickly disappear. With this in mind, Jingxing's essence soul put away the 9 souls ring and left the hurricane, rushing back in the direction he came from. There's someone in the hurricane. Lu Rinxi focused his gaze on the hurricane and murmured. In his field of vision, there was nothing but the hurricane. His hands did not stop moving, and the true essence in his palm was surging. Boom! Boom! His palm imprints missed, and their might covered 100 meters. Immediately after, 2 holes appeared on the massive hurricane. It was the area where the 2 palm imprints struck. What's going on? These 2 strikes are exceptionally powerful. No, I mobilized more true essence previously, but there was no hole. It's the wind power. Lu Rinxi's eyes lit up. He perked up and carefully sensed the hurricane. The next moment, he exclaimed excitedly, "The wind is really weakening. Everyone, the wind is getting weaker. Let's work harder." Lu Rinxi raised his head and shouted. He immediately mobilized all his remaining true essence and used his ultimate move to bombard the hurricane. The others sensed the situation of the hurricane and realized that it was really as Lu Rinxi had said. The wind was weakening, and they were immediately excited. Palm imprints, fist imprints, saber energy, sword energy, spear shadows. Everything swarmed out and bombarded the various areas of the hurricane. The hurricane that had weakened could not help but dissipate faster. About 5 minutes later, the overwhelming hurricane finally disappeared. Lu Rinxi and company had also exhausted their true essence and stamina. They floated down from the sky, either standing, leaning, or squatting. Someone is helping. A middle-aged man with half-white hair panted and said, "Someone appeared in the hurricane just now. It was the person who helped us." "Old who, you saw it too?" A fat old man not far away said in surprise. "I thought I was the only one who saw it." "Old Pan, are you sure you saw?" asked an old woman with silver hair coldly. "Why? Was I wrong to have seen it?" The fat old man was surprised. "I mean, you saw it with your naked eye." The old woman was expressionless. "Of course, no." The fat old man was shocked and said in surprise, "I think I really did not see with the naked eye, but sensed it with my martial art true intent." "Yes, I sensed it with my martial art true intent." The middle-aged man with half-white hair caught his breath and said in a low voice, "I didn't sense it earlier. Now that I think about it carefully, the other party isn't a physical entity." "If it's not a physical entity, then what is it?" "If it's not a physical entity, is it still a human?" an old man interrupted. "Of course he's human." Lu Rinxi said softly, "However, compared to us, his life level is higher." General Lu, can you make yourself clearer?" The fat old man was puzzled. Lu Rinxi did not explain. With a tap of his toes, he soared into the air and said in a low voice, "The winds have not completely stopped. Everyone, we still have work to do. Let's go to the next city." "Yes, yes. Let's go. We've rested enough, we should move on to the next city." "Who do you think this expert who helped us is?" "Who cares who he is? Anyone who comes out at this time to help dispel the hurricane is a good man. The problem is that the other party isn't a physical entity, which means that it wasn't a physical body. How did he do it? Could it be martial art true intent? A martial art true intent in human form? The others echoed and stood up. The fat old man wanted to ask Lu Renshi more questions, but the latter had already flown far away. As the commander and general of the Luori Prefecture army, Lu Renshi knew about the existence of martial sages. The figure that had helped break the hurricane was most likely a martial sage, a transcendent grade expert. But he couldn't tell if this was the kingdom defending martial sage or someone else. If he was the kingdom defending martial sage, why didn't he appear earlier to stop the wind disaster? If he wasn't the kingdom defending martial sage, wouldn't that mean that the U-Nation had produced another transcendent grade expert? This isn't right, why hasn't the tornado dissipated yet? In the sky, Su Jingxing's main body circled around the wind pillar. He sensed the tornado caused by the lightning and thunder, but it showed no signs of dissipating. Instead, it became stronger and stronger. As it moved in the wilderness, its diameter kept increasing. Everywhere it passed, dust, stones, and trees were destroyed and broken. Then, they were swept up and wrapped up before continuing to sweep along. But isn't the source of the wind disaster, the puffer fish monster, already dead? The source has been cut off, so why is the tornado still here? Although as long as the tornado remains, Thunderbolt would be able to absorb more lightning and thunder, if I do not figure out the reason and get rid of the tornado, and allow it to continue sweeping on its way, that would definitely affect the cities of Luori Prefecture and cause countless casualties. With this in mind, Su Jingxing circulated the 6 comets records and divined the reason. The results showed that the source was still there. The source is still there. The puffer fish. Wait. Suddenly, Su Jingxing was shocked. He thought of something and said solemnly, "That's right. The source isn't cut off because the puffer fish monster isn't the source of the tornado. There are other monsters besides the puffer fish monster that escaped from the darkness and entered the void world to invade the U-Nation. The puffer fish was only the source of the hurricane." At this thought, Su Jingxing circulated the 6 comets records again and divined the source of the tornado. This time, it took a little longer. It took a full half an hour to calculate the approximate location. In his essence soul state, Su Jingxing immediately changed directions and rushed over. Skipping through space. The essence soul leaped through space all the way. Soon, it left the territory of the Luori Prefecture and entered the Daqin Prefecture. It continued to move, until it saw an even larger tornado appear in its vision. In the center of the storm, a city was being attacked by a tornado, with buildings getting destroyed. Glass shards, walls, cars, dust, and debris danced in the sky as the tornado swept past. In his essence soul state, Su Jingxing had just approached the city. Card plus 28000. Card plus 5952. Notifications. He had actually extracted thousands and tens of thousands of function cards. Shocked, Su Jingxing's essence soul quickly scanned the source of the tornado. People had died. When the tornado arrived in the city, hundreds of thousands of people died. ***, what is the martial sage of the U-Nation doing? Su Jingxing growled angrily in his heart. The essence soul rushed into the center of the storm, avoiding the constant bolts of lightning and searching for a target. In the end, he did not find the void world monster. The heavenly secret guidance of the 6 comets records was still pointing at this tornado. Although the direction was very vague, this void world monster. Wait. Su Jingxing snapped back to his senses. It's still here, but not in the city. If not below, what about above? With this in mind, the essence soul raised its head and looked at the upper half of the tornado that connected to the horizon. The next moment, a snake-shaped monster that was hundreds of meters long appeared in its vision. It had an electric eel-like body, but there were tentacle-like structures growing on both sides. Bolts of lightning shot out from its body and flew into the tornado as the tentacles danced. Crack. Boom. 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 Electric arcs descended from the sky like a curtain, heading straight for Su Jingxing, who was in his essence soul state. The snake-shaped monster had discovered Su Jingxing. Swish. Swish. The Essence Soul's eyes lit up as it released sword-shaped beams. As soon as Sword Eyes opened, a crack was forcefully torn open in the curtain of electric arcs. Swoosh. In his Essence Soul state, Su Jingxing soared into the sky and followed the crack towards the horizon. Boom. Boom. Sensing this, several bolts of lightning shot out from the body of the snake-shaped monster and condensed into a ball that struck down from the sky. Its target was Su Jingxing's Essence Soul. Swish. 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 Su Jingxing condensed the Heaven Origin Saber and released it from a distance to intercept the attack. In an instant, more than 10 Heaven Origin Sabers flew out to block the lightning and thunder. Although the might was limited and it wasn't a true soul skill, the dozen or so Heaven Origin Sabers kept blocking and managed to resist the first wave of lightning and thunder. When Su Jingxing released the Nine Souls Ring, the flaming ring flew over and struck the lightning and thunder. Without much effort, it shattered the lightning and thunder. After that was done, the Nine Souls Ring split into 9 rings and charged into the sky with blazing auras. At the same time, Su Jingxing's Essence Soul followed the crack that Sword Eyes tore out and arrived beneath the snake-shaped monster. The heavy might brought about by this huge void world monster's body was shocking and terrifying. Su Jingxing's Essence Soul kept Sword Eyes open, and the sword-shaped light beams never stopped. Now that they had struck the lower abdomen of the snake-shaped monster, only leaving a mark. Under the control of the Essence Soul, the dispersed ring struck many areas, but still did not cause any wounds. The terrifying defense had it that the snake-shaped monster did not roar in anger. Instead, it only shook its tentacles and released crackling electric arcs that surrounded its entire body. In his Essence Soul state, Su Jingxing was too close and was affected immediately. Immediately, the Essence Soul felt a sharp pain on its body as white smoke appeared. Enduring the pain, it opened Sword Eyes again and aimed at a spot on the snake-shaped monster's abdomen, attacking non-stop. Whoosh! The hurricane howled through the air. The snake-shaped monster twisted its body and dodged the attack. Its huge body first sank and crashed into Su Jingxing's Essence Soul, then turned around, forming a huge arc. Swish! Twisting and circling like a snake, the snake-shaped monster's head circled behind and opened its mouth to bite Su Jingxing's Essence Soul at an extreme speed. In his Essence Soul state, Su Jingxing had suffered a heavy blow and was falling. Just as he sensed danger, the snake-shaped monster's huge mouth had already arrived and bit him. Immediately, Su Jingxing's Essence Soul was sucked into the snake-shaped monster's abdomen. It was similar to how his main body was wrapped up by the invisible pressure of the void world and unable to move. At this moment, Su Jingxing's Essence Soul was also immobilized. It opened Sword Eyes and released a sword-shaped beam that shot towards the invisible barrier wrapping around it. It was effective. But it would take time to penetrate through. However, with the squeezing pressure that was constantly tightening, there wasn't much time for the Essence Soul to shoot. In 3 minutes, no, 2 minutes at most, Su Jingxing's Essence Soul would be completely imprisoned and unable to open Sword Eyes. By then, the Essence Soul would really become a lump of flesh in the stomach of the snake-shaped monster and slowly melt away. Would the Essence Soul die? Yes. The Essence Soul hatched from a divine embryo was not immortal. In the face of terrifying power, it could still be injured and die. At this moment, Su Jingxing's Essence Soul had encountered such terrifying power. If he didn't think of a way fast, it would quickly dissipate. What should I do? It will take time for the Sword Eyes to tear through the restraints on its body. The Nine Souls Ring's attacks on the snake-shaped monster's body has limited lethality, and its defense cannot be penetrated. This isn't because the power of the Nine Souls Ring had failed, but because the snake-shaped monster was too powerful. The ostrich and puffer fish monsters from before were nothing compared to the snake-shaped monsters. It was like the difference between a chick and an elephant. Between the two, it was like. Wait. Elephant? Yes, the heaven-trampling elephant. I can also visualize the heaven-trampling elephant. Even though the demonic heaven-trampling elephant diagram was a mental secret ability and he didn't know if the essence soul could visualize it, he couldn't care less now. Strictly speaking, essence souls were purer, more prominent, and more solid than mental power. So. Swish. 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 Circulating his soul power, light flickered. In his essence soul state, Su Jingxing's body kept glowing. Accompanied by a loud and clear elephant trumpet, a heaven-trampling elephant was successfully visualized. Under his deliberate control, the heaven-trampling elephant did not appear above or behind Su Jingxing. Instead, it appeared around the essence soul. It was equivalent to Su Jingxing's essence soul adding a heaven-trampling elephant armor to itself. The strange and terrifying force that was squeezing Su Jingxing's essence soul in the snake-shaped monster's abdomen was successfully blocked by the heaven-trampling elephant. The pressure targeted the heaven-trampling elephant instead. Although this process also consumed soul power, it finally gave Su Jingxing's essence soul a chance to counterattack. First, he controlled the 9 souls ring on the outside to merge the 9 rings into one. Then, he rounded towards the snake-shaped monster's head and headed straight for it. Roar! A soul-piercing roar sounded. The snake-shaped monster was indeed fooled. It opened its mouth and swallowed the 9 souls ring. The 9 souls ring was not Su Jingxing's essence soul. It was not damaged at all by the invisible and terrifying pressure. Instead, it took the opportunity to release raging flames and burn the snake-shaped monster from the inside. In its complete state, the 9 souls ring had the strongest burning power. Su Jingxing catalyzed the power with all his might. Hoo hoo hoo. Boom. 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 Circulating his soul power, the burning power of the 9 souls ring erupted in large amounts and swept through the snake-shaped monster's body. Roar! The snake-shaped monster roared in anger. A repulsive force wrapped around the 9 souls ring and pushed it towards its mouth. You want to throw up? It's too late. Su Jingxing growled. While maintaining the heaven-trampling elephant to resist the pressure, he controlled the 9 souls ring to move in the opposite direction. The snake-shaped monster regretted devouring the 9 souls ring, but Su Jingxing didn't give it a chance. He continued to drive the 9 souls ring, burning furiously. The snake monster's roars intensified, and its shock and anger quickly turned into agony. This terrifying monster from the void world could release lightning and gather tornadoes. Inside, other than a terrifying squeezing pressure, it had no other methods. Faced with the burning of the 9 souls ring, it lasted for less than 5 minutes before screaming in fear and leaping everywhere. Su Jingxing's essence soul could sense that the snake-shaped monster had escaped the tornado and retreated from the city where the storm had landed. Now, it was fleeing aimlessly. Su Jingxing, who was in the essence soul state, did not stop it. He allowed it to escape and continued to increase the power of the 9 soul ring to burn in the snake-shaped monster's body. Finally, the snake-shaped monster let out a long cry of pain and its massive body broke into 2. The 9 souls ring wrapped in blazing flames saw the light of day again. Su Jingxing's essence soul rode the heaven-trampling elephant back to the outside world. Roar! The heaven-trampling elephant ran in the air, swinging its trunk. Su Jingxing's essence soul leaped onto the elephant's back. Sword eyes shot beams of light that pierced straight into the eye on the head on the upper body of the snake-shaped monster that was falling to the ground. He first destroyed an eye, then penetrated through it into the head. In the end, he detonated the snake-shaped monster and completely destroyed it to prevent its recovery. Void beast corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. Stopping in midair, Su Jingxing's essence soul looked at the 2 halves of the snake-shaped monster that had dissipated in surprise. There was a card. Previously, when he killed the ostrich and puffer fish monsters, he did not extract any cards. This time, one was extracted from the snake-shaped monster. Sure enough, this snake-shaped monster was different from the ostrich and puffer fish monster. The latter two were ordinary beasts while the former was a mutated beast. When ordinary beasts died, there were indeed no cards to extract. Yet it was the opposite when mutated beasts died. Void beast? A life form in the void world, murmured Jingxing. His main body took out the card he had extracted and held it in his palm to read the information. Equipment card. According to the information, this snake-shaped monster was called the Hidden Thunder Dragon Beard Beast. When one gathered 3 equipment cards from the corpses of the Hidden Thunder Dragon Beard Beasts and unlocked them at the same time, he would obtain a soul armor. The Thunder Dragon Bone Armor. The Thunder Dragon Bone Armor was a soul treasure armor that focused on defense. It could be worn by essence souls. The power of lightning and thunder that came with it also targeted the soul. Its lethality was not bad, but it could not be released externally. It could only slash at close range. Even so, Jingxing was overjoyed. The Thunder Dragon Bone Armor was an armor worn by the essence soul. It was mainly for defense. The moon shield condensed from the full moon breathing technique could only defend one position, and it also consumed soul power. The Thunder Dragon Bone Armor, on the other hand, could defend all directions, and did not require soul power to be expended. How could such a treasure armor not be a pleasant surprise? The only problem was that he needed to gather 3 identical cards. In other words, Jingxing had to kill 2 more Hidden Thunder Dragon Beard Beasts. Were there any more Hidden Thunder Dragon Beard Beasts that had entered the Unation from the Void World? Jingxing's main body and essence soul scanned their surroundings. In his vision, the tornado closest to the main body was gradually dissipating. The essence soul standing on the back of the heaven-trampling elephant also saw a tornado in the distance gradually breaking up. Clearly, there was only one Hidden Thunder Dragon Beard Beasts in the Unation. Once it died, all the tornadoes dissipated. The hurricane that swept through the 4 prefectures first stopped, then slowly disappeared. The windstorm was finally over. Jingxing put away the card and let out a breath before recalling the Thunderbolt Sword. The essence soul held the 9 souls ring in its hand and soared into the sky. It sensed the void world and saw the border membrane. It passed through it and headed northeast. The last time it came to the void world to search for the Unation's martial sage was to confirm if he was still around. Finally, he saw the martial sage of the Unation standing at the edge of the northeast. Due to his scruples, Jingxing's essence soul did not go forward to greet him. However, the martial sage of the Unation did not appear to stop the wind disaster that had caused hundreds of thousands of casualties this time. Jingxing wanted to ask him if he was still asleep. Filled with anger, he headed northeast. From afar, Jingxing's essence soul saw the Unation's martial sage with his back facing him again. "May I ask?" Jingxing's essence soul began in a low voice as it strode over. However, it only said 2 words before stopping abruptly. This was because the Unation's martial sage, whose back was facing Jingxing's essence soul, suddenly turned into a ball of mist and vanished. Vanished. Gone. Dead? In his essence soul state, Jingxing was stunned on the spot. What is this? The martial sage of the Unation died just like that? I haven't even gotten close, and I only said 2 words, and he's already gone. Or is it? Suddenly, Jingxing's essence soul jolted awake. He looked at the spot where the Unation's martial sage had dissipated and saw a twisting translucent figure. The figure became clearer and clearer. Finally, it appeared to be an amiable old man who was smiling at Jingxing's essence soul. The heavens have spared the Unation. I've finally met a successor, and such a young one at that. Good, good. Wait. Jingxing's essence soul interrupted and asked curiously, may I ask who you are? As for whatever he was spouting about a successor, Su Jingxing wouldn't fall for it. Making out the old man's identity was the key. Didn't you already guess it? The old man smiled and said, I'm the martial sage of the U-Nation, the only martial sage in a few hundred years. You can call me Xia Changxian. Impossible. Su Jingxing's essence soul blurted out, you're Xia Cangshuan. How is that possible? Xia Cangshuan, the founding ancestor of the U-Nation. It had been more than 400 years since then. Even if Xia Cangshuan had become a martial sage and guarded the void world, he would not have lived until now. The lifespan of a martial sage was 360 years. Even if Xia Cangshuan had become a martial sage, he would have long died and turned into just bones. How could he still be alive? Although Su Jingxing could sense that the old man in front of him was not an essence soul, but only a remnant soul. Wait, remnant soul. Shock flashed through the eyes of the essence soul. Ha, you figured it out. The old man met the gaze of Su Jingxing's essence souls and smiled. Under normal circumstances, I would have died long ago. Unfortunately, no one in the U-Nation has successfully reached the martial sage realm. In order to guard the void world, I had no choice but to extend my existence. Su Jingxing's essence soul was silent. After a while, he said in a low voice, why hasn't anyone succeeded? It's been 400 years, has the U-Nation not produced a single martial sage? There are indeed several with potential and opportunities. Xia Cangshuan sighed and said, unfortunately, they all failed. Some failed at the last moment of their breakthrough and lost their lives. Some were ambushed and killed before they could make a breakthrough. Some were even assassinated by the B***starred with the surname Xiang. B***starred with the surname Xiang. Xiang. The royal family of New Chu Nation. Su Jingxing's essence soul continued in surprise. Yes, the Xiang family of New Chu. Xia Cangshuan said softly, the Xiang family has always tried to annex the U-Nation. Over the years, they have sent batches and batches of assassins to lurk in the country to search for geniuses and confirm identities of those with potential. Once they find their target, they will carry out assassinations. For hundreds of years, they have failed, but they have also succeeded. Especially with those people of potential, as long as there are signs anyone emerging, they will carry out assassinations until they succeed. Their goal is simple, to cut off the birth of the new martial sage of the U-Nation. I believe you've already seen the consequences of not having a martial sage holding down the fort. Xia Cangshuan smiled. There have been 2 consecutive disasters with countless casualties. If this were to happen a few more times, how long do you think the U-Nation can last? Su Jingxing's essence soul fell silent again. Don't mention a few more of such disasters, just with the casualties of this wind disaster alone, the cabinet would have to pay a huge price. Only a long period of appeasement would be able to ease the pain and the panic in the people's hearts. If the source of these disasters that were caused by the invasion of the monsters from the void world could not be resolved, this would be an insoluble problem. The importance of a kingdom-defending martial sage could be imagined. Before this, Su Jingxing had never thought that in the past 400 years, U-Nation had never produced another martial sage. Now he understood. It wasn't that there were no geniuses in the U-Nation, but that these geniuses had been killed before they could even grow.